Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, we'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting tonight, council meeting tonight. Will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bachman?
Here.
Henning?
Here.
Gorman?
Here.
Merkel?
Here.
Kelly? Here. Lieberman?
Here.
And Stevens.
Here. We are going to deviate a little bit from our published agenda. We are going to not swear in some new police officers and firefighters tonight. We're going to do that hopefully next meeting?
Early February.
Early February. Those folks they've been officially sworn in, so they are working, but we'll have the ceremony probably maybe the first week in February. Okay, so we're going to move right to the next thing, which is the state of the city, and I'm going to give that. Okay, we're on. Okay, I just want to say a few words. It's not going to be too long here tonight. I feel like our city, when you compare it to almost any other entity out there, is very transparent. And the truth is, I don't want to try to reiterate everything that we've done. We've done so much, just had so much activity this past year, and we've had a lot of home runs. I'll try to mention some of those, and we've had a lot of change, and the truth is it's really all been positive. So what I want to do, I want to start out by saying, mentioning what led to the success. And I think of anything, it's our people. And that's not a cliche. I mean, we have a great council. This year we passed so many things. Yeah, we had some debate. Every individual is not going to agree on everything. But at the end of the day, I think we all showed a united front, and I'm just really proud and happy to be, a small part of that. I think we dig deep when we have to. We, present our views when we have to. But at the end of the day, we come together and we keep the city moving forward. And I just love that. I'm really proud of that. The other next group I want to recognize that has just done a fantastic job is our staff. And it goes from our department heads, some are here tonight, just right down to our employees, our part-time employees, managers, the officers, the firefighters, the paramedics, all these folks. For a city our size, it's amazing to me that we run so well with so few people. And again, I'm just so proud of the work that these folks do. Every one of them wears a lot of hats, and they just excel at everything. So I'm really happy about that. The last group I want to mention is our volunteers. And we have one here tonight, and he has a fantastic group of people that work with him on our Parks Commission, but we have other volunteers too that have just done a fantastic job, from our Board of Zoning, our Planning Commission, and we get volunteers for other events too, like our fireworks and breakfast with Santa, things like that. People call here and want to help, and it's just such a great feeling to see our city and community come together like that. So those folks have just done a fantastic job. I want to just mention two positions that we added this year that on their own merit, they're good things, but in my mind, it's a little more than that. And that is, we added a position in our police department to a lieutenant, and we added an events manager at Meadowbrook. So why I think those are really above the normal thing is because they indicate vertical growth versus horizontal growth. It's easy to grow horizontally. We can hire more people. We can hire more officers, we can hire more servers over there and those more guys on the golf course. But when you start growing vertically, through our city manager and the rest of our staff, they saw a need that we need these new positions. And so far, they've both worked out great. I think in the case of the police position that we hired, I want to watch what I say here, but I think it gives us a chance to have a succession plan. Our chief's been here a long time and just does a fantastic job, but we do have someone there that can take over a point person if he takes off or whatever. So I think it's really I think those positions being vertical hires are really good for us. So I think that's really what pushed us forward. I think we have a city like ours, is kind of small compared to some of our neighbors and things. We're always going to be in some positions considered a stepping stone, and we've seen it here. Especially in the fire and police. I think they get hired here, and it's easy to dangle money in a young person's face, and they'll go to Dayton or they'll go to another entity that would pay more. But I think our opportunity here is to embrace our culture and make sure that these young folks that we have coming in, most of them are young. Well, they're all young compared to me, but we want to make sure that they're here for a career. And I think we have the right culture for that. I think that's a huge opportunity for us to continue to push. The last couple police officers, I think you've seen some of them, but last couple that we've hired are just unbelievable, really. I mean, they're Marines, they're fit, they're young, they're ready to roll. And these are the people that we want to get and keep. We don't want to train them so they go somewhere else. We'd like to keep them here. So I think that's a good opportunity for us. The next thing I want to talk about that I think we had success with is all the outreach that we've done. That's really a broad topic here, but I wouldn't say part, I'd say the best part of being a mayor is you get to go interact with other cities and other groups. Now, our council, we have, every one of you does that also. So some of these things, I think you would agree with me that are, if you hear it over and over and over from other groups, other cities, that we're doing something right. So, and what I mean by that is, let me just start with our events. We've had a lot of great events this year, like we did last year. We added a few new events this year. We added some dancing over at Meadowbrook, and we actually have another new event coming up now. Next week? Is it next week? 2 weeks from tomorrow. 2 weeks. We have a family film night over at Meadowbrook, but we've had all the other events in the past, like the fireworks and Easter and Christmas and Halloween, all that. And we get so much positive feedback from that. I've never heard one negative thing about any of it. I mean, it's just all been so positive from not only our community, but from other community leaders and other community residents, because we invite everybody. You're welcome to come here. We don't care, we want you to everybody live in Clayton, but not everybody does. And we want the folks on the outside of our city to feel welcome too, and I certainly think that's the case. We did some other outreach stuff. Again, on its own merit, it's not a huge thing, but we had a mural painted over at the golf course. And that was a partnership with Northmont Schools Art Department. Well, it was, a home run. I mean, it's a little thing, relatively little thing, but it's seen by a lot of people, and it gained a lot of attention. And I know that because a civic group that I'm in, everyone talks about it, and now other cities near us are wanting to copy that. They want to do that too. So again, that just tells me that we're on the roll on these things. The social media that we do, it's really good, and the videos that we do. I get a lot of feedback when I go to these other meetings, and people ask about, who does your videos? I saw your social media that you put out there. I just think that, again, that's given us great marketing, helping us put our message out there. I had a person that the very last thing he said to me, his name's Eric Collins. Some of you know him. He worked for the county and recently retired from the county, and now he's the city manager, economic development in Centerville. The very last thing he said to me at our last JED meeting was, keep doing the videos. He thought that was really a great thing, and I agree with that, it is. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but our staff and our council is very involved in our community. And again, you see it at all the events. We don't hire people to come run our events. We go run it. And everybody that can be there is there. And it's just, again, it's so refreshing to see that in a city, because not every city's like that. Again, I think of another opportunity that that we have under outreach would be, we need to think of more events, as many as we can, as long as they make sense. I'd like to see us do some bigger events. Maybe we do car show. It's things we've all talked about, car shows or concerts or things like that. It'd be really nice. I hate to say this out loud, but I'm going to, if we can monetize some of those, because events cost money. And it helps when everyone pitches in, to volunteer. But I think if we talk about getting bigger events, maybe we'll just talk about that in the future. The schools, I think we have continued opportunity with. We have good relationships with Northmont Schools and the CTC. I think the CTC is another opportunity that we have. I know we have a good relationship with them, but maybe we could step that up a little bit. They have a lot of tradesmen over there, and it'd be really great to give them some real world work also. And possibly at Caterpillar. It's our largest employer, and one of the largest companies in the area. They haven't been very open to working with cities. In general, the company doesn't do that much. They do have some charities, but they're very targeted and very specific. So maybe we can work on that. Again, these are things that we've talked about in the past. The next thing I want to highlight is our budget. And the good news is, we made our budget this year. And so that's really, again, it's tough times. Economy's not so great, and it's hard to get parts, and it's hard to get people and everything else. So we made our budget, and I think that, again, I think that goes back to our people, and it's through frugal management. And we were able to keep all of our programs in place. We bought new equipment as we needed. We're buying new equipment right now as we need. We've been able to maintain our streets and things on the regular schedule. And I give kudos to the folks, to the management that spends the money, because they just do a fantastic job. Some things that I'm worried about going forward in the future with the budget is, again, it's the exact things we've all talked about. The number of households. We need to continue to grow. We need new businesses. We need, we have both of those things going on right now, but we need to continue that on. These surely will help, but the issue is we don't know exactly how much. When Mr. Schweitzer budgets for us, he budgets very conservatively, and he does not budget for the unknown. So, some of those things are not in our 2023 budget, and surely we'll be able to reap some money from that, but we just don't know how much, and until then, we need to continue to be really frugal. And of course, the economy is a threat to our budget also, and we have limited influence over the state and the federal budget, but we can definitely control our own and just make the best decisions that we can. I want to say the next area I want to highlight is our development department. Again, I think these guys hit some home runs this year, and it was they culminated this year, but it's things that they've been working on, for a couple years, and that they still continue to work on every day. People think all of a sudden, they start seeing houses being built. They think, oh, well, wow, that was quick. Well, it's never quick. It always takes a long time for this stuff to culminate. And we had, in 1 week, we had dirt being moved at 3 different residential developments in Clayton. And I'm sure that's never happened. I mean, maybe a short period back in early 70s, there was a lot of houses built, but in my life, I've never seen anything like this. And so I think that will be just super exciting to see that. We talked about other areas of development. We're in the midst of, widening Hoke Road, and that's an exciting thing, because that will, it's the beginning, the first step of getting us from 70 all the way up to 40. The first step will be to Winger. And I saw, it was really funny, because we saw their preliminary plans that, they're thinking about a roundabout and things, and I get it. People are concerned because we don't have roundabouts around here. But if you go to many other more progressive cities, they're common, and people like them. It's not something that, it's a little intimidating until you figure out how to use it, but they're very efficient. And going back to the social media thing, which I monitor closely, because I'm always looking for like misinformation there, but there was a few people on there on the threads, and I'm sure some of you at least saw it, that said they didn't like that idea. That was a dumb idea, blah, blah, blah. But overwhelmingly, it was positive, because people said, hey, I'm from Columbus. They're all over up there. Or I'm from Butler County. They're all over down there. So those are the kind of things I'm just happy to see us at least consider and looking forward to. I want to mention something. It's close to my house, so I see it every day. But we made improvements, and it was with the help of the state also. But we made improvements in the intersections on Route 49. It's dramatic. If you go there at night, I mean, it's not only looks better, but it's safer. And again, that's, when you can put two benefits together like that, that's what we're looking for. That's why I say that's a home run. We made some, this is really not so much a development, but I put it under that category. We made some improvements to our parks. And I think that's the first real improvements we've made, again, for years. We did put up a disc golf course, a few years ago, so that was an improvement. But the pavements, hard scrabble's never looked better. I mean, and that's from when I was a kid. That's a long time ago, so it's looking fantastic. And I do want to say, I want to mention, this is something that we talk about a lot here. I want to mention Plan Clayton, because although it's not in stone, it's not so-called the Bible, like some people have called it, but it is a plan. And I think it's more than a coincidence that once we started working the plan, then things started coming together. We've always had a lot of good ideas, but we didn't have a written plan, and it took us a while to ramp up here. The plans we've had for a couple years.
It was adopted in 2018.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've had it for a few years, and we've been working toward it, but again, this process is slow. And I think if we continue to work that plan and adjust if needed, that I just think it's really a bright future. The other things that I think were home runs, I just want to mention two other things. In development is we were able to purchase some vacant properties and dilapidated properties down on Main Street. And one of those has been torn down already. The other two are scheduled to be torn down. And I think that was really a smart move on the city's part, because it allows us to have control of the development, for lack of better words, I guess. We don't want a massage parlor down there. We want a legitimate, good business down there. And I just think it's something that is going to pay big dividends for us. When you get one or two vacant lots, if they're separate from each other, sometimes, you can't string them together, but these happen to be, we're able to string these together, and I just think it'll pay big benefits for us. The other benefit that we have in development, when you compare us to a lot of other cities, is we have a lot of available land. Now, I grew up in the country. I grew up in a rural area of Clayton, and I hate to see it too. It's bittersweet for me, but again, when you go back to some of the other things that we're trying to accomplish, we have got to have growth. We got to have smart growth in those areas, but we have plenty of room to stretch out there, and there's room for all of us. There's room for the apartments. There's room for the houses. There's room for the farmer, and everything in between. So again, I think that's what I'm looking forward for the future. And the last part I want to just mention is Meadowbrook, because it tends to be controversial. I think we got a little clearer picture of the finances on Meadowbrook. I'm not sure we're ever going to be in the black running it. It's always been my hope from day one, my goal to get us there. So I don't think that's going to happen, probably because of the size of it and because of the part of it's seasonal, part of its age, part of its deferred maintenance. It's all those things. But we've actually, I think, done a fantastic job with what we have. This year was the first year that our city took over the actual management of Meadowbrook. Before, we'd had our caterer. We kind of gave him the reins on running the event center, and we had our own folks doing the golf. But we took over the management of the event center this year, and it's just, I think it was, it was a good move. We've had a lot of events there, and it's been very successful. I get again, it's one of those things I get a lot of feedback on from other people, other cities, and we're doing the right things over there. We still have other things there that are going to we need to spend money on. You know, we're getting new water pumps over there for the golf course. Well, no one wants to spend money on water pumps, but, you know, they're 30 years old and they don't work. So, you know, we're going to get some new pumps, and we're going to try to, you know, get the golf course, help our golf manager and golf pro over there to keep the course up to par, so to say. The golf over there has been strong. I'm not a golfer, so I don't go over there and golf, but I know we've had a lot of events and a lot of leagues. Everything's sold out, so that's, you know, the golf part's doing well. The building looks good. I was just at a chamber Christmas party over there a couple weeks ago, and unsolicited, I had at least 10 people say this place looks fantastic. They had it decorated nice, but they said it looks really good. And that makes me feel good because, again, I think as a group, you know, we're going the right way on it. We've made other improvements over there this year. The bad thing is they all cost money, but again, it's just deferred maintenance that we had to do. We had a new AV system put in. We did a lot of work on the entrance down there. You know, out of the blue, our fire panel fails, so that's not something that you can mess with. We had to get it fixed, but all that stuff now is updated. Again, you know, the big issues, you know, are always going to be the money and keeping up on the maintenance and fixing all the deferred maintenance over there. Parking lot, you know, we've got to do something about that. It's all, again, these are things we've all talked about, but we just need to line it up and make sure that we can pay for it and make sure everything is just done as effectively as possible. I do think we have a couple opportunities over there. I think the bar still has some opportunity. Golfers like to go to the bar, I guess. That's what I heard. So I think we could do that. We are going to have, we have the pickleball courts built, and again, I've never played pickleball. I've only seen it on TV, but I'm looking for that to be another home run, and I just think it'll bring a lot of people over there for us. We still have a lot of unused space in the actual building itself, so sometime hopefully we can make that more efficient, you know, get something in there that'll especially downstairs, you know, something that will make sense for us. I think we need to be able to, we have an opportunity to brag more about it, I believe. Again, this is something Amanda's, I'm sure, tired of hearing me say this, but I think we need to be able to account for how many people come there, at least with a, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be exact, but, you know, we don't know how many people visit Meadowbrook. Is it 10,000 or is it 50,000? We just don't know. So I think that, again, that's something that we can work on. And the one thing I wanted to mention, when you talk about Meadowbrook, there's a lot of meetings that get held over there. Things like civic organizations and just other small meetings, baby showers and things like that of that size. Well, we have a brand new facility that's opening up Saturday, the ribbon cutting for the new library, or Northmont Library. I'm really happy that we have that library and things, but it's new and it's shiny, and they have a pretty nice community room, I understand. I'm going to go Saturday, but I haven't seen it yet. But those are the kind of things that I think, again, they're things that we need to make sure that we can compete with those kinds of issues. I don't know what they cost or if it costs, but again, it's just one of those things that, it's going to be a competition for some of the stuff at Meadowbrook. So that's basically how I see the city. I think it's really been a bright year for us, and I think going forward, it's really bright. We have some challenges like every city and every individual has when you start a new year, but I go back to our people. I have 100% confidence in the folks that we have, again, from our council, our city manager, our department heads, the staff, our volunteers. I know that every one of these folks puts forth their best face in representing the city, and I think 2023 is just going to be a great year for us. So that's it for me. I thank everyone for indulging in my comments here, and hopefully we can move forward and just have a great year. So, all right, thank you. Okay. Again, thanks everyone for putting up with me and that. Can we have a clerk's report, please?
You have before you the council meeting minutes of December 15th, 2022.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Gorman, second by Mr. Bachman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Roll call.
Okay. Mr. Henning has to abstain, so can we have a roll call?
Bachman,
Yes.
Henning,
Abstain.
Gorman,
Yes.
Merkel,
Yes.
Kelly. Yes. Lieberman,
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes. And let the record show that that passes unanimously with one abstention. And we have no old business tonight. We do have quite a bit of new business. Some of it's kind of business as usual. Some of it may be new. Our first is we do have an ordinance, which will be the first of two readings. Will you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance O-01-2301. An ordinance approving construction of street lighting improvements in and to adopt assessments for annual street lighting charges upon lots located within Wenger Village, Section 3 in the city of Clayton, Ohio.
Mr. Koontz?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. So this is just a follow-up with the resolution of necessity that City Council approved early in December. This is for the street lighting district in Wenger Village, Section 3. This is just the next step, legally speaking, in terms of creating that street lighting district. This allows the city of Clayton to assess the property taxes of the property owners within that specific section of Wenger Village when street lights go up. So this is just the normal legal steps that we need to take as a city to give the finance director the ability to assess those property taxes.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Gorman, second by Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let the record show that passes unanimously. And it looks like we have a string of resolutions. Will you read the first resolution, please?
Resolution R-01-2301, a resolution to reappoint Dave Bills to the Clayton Planning Commission.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Henning, second by Mr. Gorman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let the record show that's unanimous. Will you read the second resolution, please?
Resolution R-01-2302, a resolution to reappoint Robert McGinnis to the Clayton Board of Zoning Appeals.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve as written by Mr. Henning, second by Mr. Gorman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let the record show that was unanimous. The third resolution I'm going to ask that we table tonight. We had, due to the member, had some health issues, quite frankly, and it was a surgery, so she's okay, but we're going to table that until the next meeting, or,
We need a
Yes.
motion and vote,
Yeah.
please.
I'll move to table it.
Second.
a motion to table resolution, the third resolution by Mr. Henning, second by Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let the record show that we tabled resolution number 3. Will you read the fourth, please?
Resolution R 01-2304, a resolution appointing members to the members to the Council Salary Review Commission.
I'll move that we appoint the 3 members that were listed in front of us to the Salary Review Commission. Napier.
I'll second the motion.
Motion to appoint the 3 members. This is our, actually a new commission, our new Council Salary Review Commission by Mr. Henning, second by Mr. Bachman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, will you read the fifth resolution, please?
Resolution R 01-2305, a resolution to appoint Clayton representatives to the First Suburbs Consortium for the year 2023.
I hate to self-nominate myself, but we'll keep this going. I nominate Mr. Gorman and myself as regular members and Mr. Merkel, if he's willing, as the alternate.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Henning's made his nominations of himself, Mr. Gorman, and Mr. Bachman. All in favor? Oh, and Mr. Merkel, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Thanks for serving, gentlemen. Will you read the next resolution, please?
Resolution R 01-2306, a resolution appointing Clayton representatives to the Volunteer Firefighters Dependents Fund Board for the year 2023.
I will nominate council members Lieberman, Kelly, and resident Mr. Edward Zimmerman, current members, for another term.
Second.
Motion to nominate, to elect, is it elect? Name, appoint Mr. Lieberman, Ms. Kelly, and Mr. Zimmerman.
Mayor, could I interrupt?
written?
I think,
Yes.
if I remember correctly, the 2 members appoint the third, so it would just be for the 2 council members. So if we could amend that to just appoint the 2 council members?
So amended.
I second to amend, taking off Mr. Zimmerman.
Yeah. So amended. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you both for serving. Will you read the next resolution, please?
Resolution R 01-2307, a resolution to appoint a Clayton representative and an alternate to the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission and Transportation Committee for the year 2023.
I move to nominate Mr. Gorman as member and Mayor Stevens as the alternate.
Motion to nominate myself and Mr. Gorman to the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, and second by Mr. Merkel. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Will you read the next resolution, please?
Resolution R 01-2308, a resolution appointing member to the Cost Recovery Impact Fee Appeals Board.
I move to nominate Mr. Lieberman to the Impact Fee Appeals Board.
Second.
Mr. Henning made the motion to nominate Mr. Lieberman, or appoint Mr. Lieberman to the Cost Recovery Impact Fee Appeals Board, second by Mr. Bachman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. Will you read the ninth resolution, please?
Resolution R 01-2309, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the John R. Jurgensen Company for the 2023 Salem Street resurfacing project, project ID 116866, at a total cost of $409,542.43, and a total cost to the City of Clayton, Ohio, not to exceed $81,906.49.
Mr. Sanders?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve as written by Mr. Gorman, second by Mr. Henning. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that was unanimous. Thank you. Will you read the 10th resolution, please?
Resolution R 01-2310, a resolution authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the International Association of Firefighters Local 4379.
Chief Garver?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you is a request to go into an MOU with the union. 3 articles or 3 items are on that, just for clarification. The first item you see on there is this clarifying holiday comp time that they receive that can be counted towards work period overtime. They receive it for an attendance bonus. So that just need to be clarified with the FLSA language and stuff like that. So we just want to make sure we clarify that so we're clear on both sides. The next item in our contract, we had a residency requirement where you had to live in a contiguous county. And as you know, trying to get firefighters, whether it be part-time or full-time, is difficult. So we wanted to expand our reach, so to speak. It's not uncommon. We have people in this area that live in Columbus or even on the eastern side of Columbus that commute to work for fire departments in this area. The advantage is that they're not driving it every day. They work every 3rd day, so it's not like they have to drive it every single day. So we want to do that just to try to expand our reach a little bit. And the last item on there is just to change the language for the rate of EMT. We're not changing the actual rate. It's just we're actually putting those rates in the contract. It used to be a comparative to a part-time rate, but if we ever change anything with a part-time rate, then we have to go change the contract. So we wanted just to clarify that and put those rates in there versus referring to a part-time rate.
I understand I have to commute to Cincinnati for work, so I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve as written by Mr. Henning, second by Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you, Chief. And will you read the final resolution, please?
Resolution R 01-2311, a resolution authorizing the city manager to provide written notice to the Board of Commissioners of Montgomery County, Ohio, of termination of a certain September 2nd, 1997 agreement between the then Village of Clayton, Ohio, now the City of Clayton, Ohio, and the Board of Commissioners of Montgomery County, Ohio, relative to building inspection and related duties, accepting plumbing inspections and related duties, and further requesting waiver of the notice of termination provision in said agreement such that such termination may become immediately effective.
Mr. Koontz?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. As everyone knows, City of Clayton became its own building department at the end of December. The state of Ohio did approve us for residential and commercial building services. This is just a final step in terms of our termination with our agreement with Montgomery County. NIC began building services at really January 3rd, so on Tuesday of this week. Montgomery County and City of Clayton staff are working right now to make the transition as seamless as possible in terms of communicating in regards to existing permits and inspections. NIC has also been in communication with Montgomery County, and everything has been moving pretty well so far. We're very happy with everything. So this is just the last step. Legally speaking, we do need to terminate our contract with Montgomery County that we originally entered into in 1997 when we were a village. And we are asking to waive the 90 days. Montgomery County is also fine with that. This is just to make sure that we're crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's as we move forward as our own separate building department.
Any questions on that?
I'll just say, I know a individual who is building here, and just wanted to thank Seth, and I don't know, I'm sure you've had interactions too, but wanted to thank you guys for your assistance as they're putting their final touches on getting their house put up here in the city of Clayton, so thank you.
You're welcome. I will say, you know, Seth has been probably the major staff person who's been working on this transition, as well as Lindsay at the front. Lindsay's going to be working with the intake of the building permits and the application, so those two have been working very hard on making that transition from the city of Clayton side as seamless as possible.
I'll move for approval.
Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt. Just piggybacking on what Jack said, I do have one request with respect to this resolution. Earlier today, I emailed an updated version of that resolution because I did change the language at paragraph 3. That was a result of conversations with the attorney for the county, so that was some clarification language that was added to that specific paragraph to indicate that upon termination of the agreement, the county is released from any further obligation under that agreement, except for the plumbing inspections, and we added a copy of the letter from Public Health indicating they were going to continue those plumbing inspections. So if we could just have a motion and a vote to amend that resolution to include that specific language, and then a vote on the amended resolution?
I move to do what Martina just said.
Second.
And then I'll move to amend Mr. Gorman's original motion to include paragraph 3 like Martina asked for.
To include the revised language, yes. So now that would be a vote on the amendment and then a vote on the amended resolution.
Mayor, I'm going to have to abstain on both.
So since we have an abstention, let's go ahead and do a roll call on the amendment.
On the amendment first.
Okay. Bachman?
Yes.
Henning?
Yes.
Gorman?
Yes.
Merkel?
Yes.
Kelly? Yes. Lieberman?
Abstain.
And Stevens?
Yes. And then can we have a roll call on the,
Resolution.
yes, on the resolution itself?
Bachman?
Yes.
Henning?
Yes.
Gorman?
Yes.
Merkel?
Yes.
Kelly? Yes. Lieberman?
Abstain.
Stevens?
Yes. Okay, that's a really good thing for our city. It really moves us forward also. So congratulations to everyone on that. Nice job. Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a few items for you this evening. First, a reminder that city offices are closed on Monday, January 16th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I also want to give you a recap on the snow event over Christmas. So our service department worked very hard to keep the streets clean. I think we probably had the best streets in the area. They did a very good job. I want to let you know that our people worked 225.5 hours of overtime clearing the roads. And that totaled $38 an hour, was a cost of $8,569. We used 284 tons of salt at a price at 77.75 cents per ton, which is a $22,000 cost to the city. And then 3,800 gallons of beet, heat, and brine, excuse me, at $1,520 for a total cost of $35,170 for the one snow event.
That's an expensive storm.
It is an expensive storm. Well, it didn't help, it fell over Christmas, but it's a very expensive storm. But the fact that our service department can do so much, you know, being so few people is absolutely amazing. They did a great job, and I think if you ask anybody, they're going to tell you the same thing.
I think we had the best roads in the area.
I agree, 100%. We
And
did.
I had a lot of compliments on that also.
They did a very good job. And I heard that Ben did a great job while he was out there. So this was his first time out. He went out there and he
Do you
did a
have
great
your CDL
job.
now, Ben? Do you have your CDL? I do. Congrats.
So we have our city council goal-setting session. It's scheduled for February 5th, which is a Sunday, I'm sorry. But luckily, the reason it's a Sunday is because Meadowbrook was booked all the other times. So Sunday, that's a good thing, right? So we're looking at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'll send out the information in an email to everybody tomorrow, and I'll keep reminding you as we move along. So we have this, so February 5th, 10 a.m. to 2. The Village of North Clayton, the developer has submitted plans to Planning Commission. However, they have asked that that they be moved to the February meeting, so it will not be before council. Assuming that everything goes well and they get to the February meeting, it'll be before council on March 16th for council's consideration. There'll be a public hearing and council's first consideration. In the last city manager report, I mentioned the collaborative savings. Chief Garver is here. I'd like him to come up and kind of give council a rundown.
Good evening again. During the budget workshop, there was questions asked about, we talked about how we have savings within the fire department collaborative. When we talk about budget, we haven't seen the budget go down in our operating budget, so how are we getting savings in our budget? And when you remember, we first gave that presentation, we talked about capital improvement savings, not operational savings. So I put something out to the city manager for you guys to look at, showing some what we expect capital savings, what they truly are now, next year, and truly we have some operational savings and what those are. So I'll go through a little bit of that. When we talked about the capital side, we had 3 medics that we were maintaining at a cost of $250,000 now to $350,000. Now we only have to maintain 1 versus 3. So we reduced that capital expenditure by 66%. When we talk about fire apparatus, we maintain 3 apparatus because we had 2 firehouses. Now we only have to maintain 1, so now 1 firehouse, so we only have to have 2 pieces of fire apparatus. So now you're saving anywhere between $600,000 and $700,000 when you do that. Next year, we would have been due to replace a medic and a fire engine. So you see the cost savings roughly next year. We were saving $950,000 in our 2024 capital improvement budget. So actually, when you look at the slide that I put on the top of the memo, we were expecting over 15 years of $1.4 million. And already in 2024, we're already at almost $1 million worth of savings, just in the first 4 years of the collaborative. The operational savings, which we didn't talk about because it's hard to see. When we talk about fire department or any public safety, it takes people. It doesn't matter whether you're doing it together or independently, you need people to make it work. So really, we're not looking at trying to save money there because we're still trying to provide the same service. So where did we save money operationally? So when we joined up with the collaborative, the city of Clayton already had battalion chiefs, which actually run the day-to-day operations of the fire department. So they're the ones out there in the forefront running the scenes and what have you. When we had those conversations with Englewood, they had no desire to actually add on to that. We don't need 2 of those individuals for those positions, so let's just share yours. In return, we get Englewood personnel up to 33% of the time. And I will tell you, we use that every single year. We use every bit we can. So in 2022, we had a cost savings to the city of $138,000. That's what we would have used if we had to cover those spots using our own staffing or overtime. So there is operational savings that we did not see previously. Also, we used to staff Station 84. So now we have no staffing out there because the Station 81, Station 98, Station 99 are covering the majority of those areas now, and they are doing it well. One of the stats I actually pulled when we were actually staffing Station 84, which we all know we had times where we couldn't staff it because of staffing, our response time was about 6.5 minutes on an average to that area. Now that we joined the collaborative, it's actually 5.5. So we actually reduced our average response time into that area, and we're not even staffing that firehouse. So that helped us out considerably. But if we had to staff that firehouse, we know how hard it is to get part-time people. We're struggling getting part-time people. We're struggling getting full-time people. So we would have had to hire to keep our minimum staffing up, and that would have cost us $257,000 in 2022 that we did not have to spend. Okay? Did we ever see that? Did our budget drop by $300,000? No, but if we wouldn't have made the changes, our budget would have increased by that amount. So when you look at our budget, I think our budget increased by, 2%, I think, in 2023. So, I mean, it's not a huge increase. Those are just costs and increases for personnel. We didn't add anybody. So when we say we're not seeing savings, from year to year, yes, we did not see the budget drop overall, but we would have saw a lot incremental increases over the years that we didn't see because of the collaborative. So that's where your savings are coming from. So if you actually look in 2023 or 2022, we actually total savings operationally, okay, that we didn't have to spend was $396,000. We look at 2024, or 2023, I'm really getting ahead of ourselves when we talk about 2024. 2023 is expected $375,000 of savings that we're going to accrue because of not having a staff station anymore and overtime costs. And the same thing in 2024, just based on about 382 plus the $940,000 or $950,000. So when you look at our savings from 2022, we're not even talking about anything before 22, but just for 22, 23, and 24, we're looking at a savings of $2.1 million. That includes capital improvement and operational savings. And again, we're talking about saving $1.4 million over 15 years. And just during that 3-year period, we're going to save 2.1. So when we talk about successes, that, in my opinion, that is a success in savings. But I just wanted to explain that to you when we see, well, the budget isn't decreasing and we join the collaborative. The collaboratives just saved us from having to increase our budget exponentially every year to make the staffing changes and needs for the community. And I'll take any questions.
I just want to make a comment because I do acknowledge those savings, but I think also you could say a word or two about the effectiveness of the response times and things like that, because I think that's the real payoff for our residents.
Correct. So when we talk about the effectiveness of what we've done with the collaborative, our response times are down close to like 4 minutes and 15 seconds on average in the collaborative as the Northmont area. So between Inglewood, Union, and Clayton, overall, our average response time is 4 minutes and 15 seconds. And that is high-level responses, I'll be honest with you. You don't see that in a lot of areas. Whatever Randolph Township Fire Department did back in the day when they built the firehouses, they put them in the right places. We'll be honest with you. So it really does help with those responses. We all have outlying areas that it doesn't matter where we put a firehouse, it's going to take a little bit more than 5 minutes. But we still get there within 6-7 minutes, and we do reports every month to make sure we are staying within those limits. The other thing, even when people say, well, why did you take people out of Station 84? We only had 2 people out there if we could staff it. Now when you have a medical emergency, you're just not getting 2 people, you're getting 5 people. If there's a fire out there, you're just not getting 2 people, you're getting 8 people within those 5 minutes, better than we could provide on our own. So the service that we were providing is much better. Even though we may have got someone there a little bit quicker at times, still we're providing a better service with more staffing to do things much quicker and to provide everything we possibly can to make the outcome as best as we can. And this is sharing of people, it all works very well together right now. And we've talked about it before, we've taken our show on the road because people are wondering, how do you do this? I didn't go, I was on vacation, but 2 months ago, the other 2 chiefs actually went to Pittsburgh and actually gave a presentation. They're wanting to say, how do we do this? So it is out there, and it is a true benefit to the community, not only in cost savings, but actually to do the job that we're here to do for emergency services. They're getting a better service, and they're getting a high-quality service.
Just think what we could do if we combined the 3 cities, Brian, huh? That number would multiply.
That's above my level.
The only thing I'd add, Chief, is I've heard nothing but positive from the residents. They've been very appreciative of it. And the collaborative savings, the proof is in what you just shared with us. So obviously it's working, and the residents are very appreciative, so thank you.
Anything else for Chief? Okay, thank you, sir. Good job.
I have one final thing for you this evening. And then just a reminder, at our next meeting, we have an additional work session concerning electrical aggregation. Jay Weiskircher, the Executive Director for MVCC, and a representative from Palmer will be here to discuss their program.
Any questions or comments for the city manager? Okay, thank you. Good job. And we're going to go next to our visitors' comments. I'm going to go back to our friends from SOPAC. Anything? No parting words? Well, appreciate you coming in and staying. Ma'am, anything? Okay. Mr. Earl? Okay.
So we are having the first Northmont Family Movie Night at Middlebrook at Clayton. It is January 20th. It is 2 weeks from tomorrow. Doors open up at 6 o'clock. The movie will start at 6:30. We're showing the Bad Guys, which is it's a great animated children's movie. We will have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas from Domino's for sale, $9 for a large pizza. People are able to bring in their own drinks, snacks, what have you. We're going to have it in the ballroom on the new huge television there. People can bring blankets and set up in front of the television. We'll have some tables and chairs set up, obviously, for adults and what have you. We'll also have some bottled water there for people that don't bring their own beverages. But we think it's a good opportunity for families to come out during the wintertime and get to see what Meadowbrook's all about, to get to see some of the new audio-visual equipment, but also, you know, just to provide another free community outreach for the Northmont family. So we're very excited about it. Parks Advisory Commission is sponsoring the event, so everyone can come out if they want to. Again, it should be a pretty fun, pretty laid-back, casual event.
Well, you did pretty good there, Earl. Thank you. Thanks both for that. Mr. Nunnery, anything? Nothing? Okay. We'll move to our council. Mr. Lieberman.
So, Mayor, in your brief State of the City address, which you covered a lot of things, but there was one thing I noticed, one home run that you didn't cover, and that is that for probably the first time in about 25 years, the Dayton Daily News actually got it right and called us a city. And we actually have, we actually now have, every once in a while, some stories about what we're doing up here. So I don't know who is responsible for that. Maybe it's Mr. Nunnery. I doubt it. You've gotten it right. So, but whoever it was, thank you. That's a big home run for us. It really is.
I agree. Anything else? All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Kelly?
Thank you, Mayor Mike Stevens, for your City of the address tonight. And thank you for the workshop that we had. Very informative. And that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Merkel?
I too. Thanks for the words from last year. Thank you for the presentation. It's some things to work on in terms of figuring out how this stuff works and how to present it to the public when the time comes. Just looking forward to a new year and better things.
Mr. Gorman?
No, I'd just like to thank the fellows from SOPEC and yourself, Mike, and wish everybody a Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Henning?
Follow the train, and thank you, two gentlemen, for coming tonight to talk about the aggregation program. As I stated, residents have been inquiring, saying, you know, it's a new year, we passed the aggregation, our electric bills are high, let's get this going. So thank you for presenting tonight. I know that I'm also excited to save money on it, so looking forward to getting it implemented as soon as possible. I did want to say the service department did a fantastic job. The negative 30 degrees plus with wind chill was something that I hope we don't experience again this year. But continue, I know Mr. Merkel says it a lot, continue to check in with your neighbors this winter if it does get cold, or just to check in with them as they may be lonely sitting at home, not doing as much during the winter. And I will say, I wanted to thank everyone here for the well wishes that you gave Natalie and myself with our growing family. Baby Henning, not Baby Inglewood or another local city name, is expected to join our family in April of this year. So we're excited.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bachman?
My money's on Randolph. Yeah. Well, you couldn't have done Skylark if it was a girl, because you already had Sky and your niece. Evening, everyone. Hope everyone had a great holiday season. I know I did, myself and my family did. Well, Mr. Mayor, I guess I'll give the Republican response to your State of the City. No, I'm kidding. No, very well done. Outlined the successes and, the things moving forward and the reality of some things. So again, I'll echo everyone and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for putting that on. The gentleman from SOPAC as well. Learned a lot tonight about, last couple months about these electric aggregations, but tonight about, the side that you guys do. And, we'll see moving forward how we go with this. But, whether or not we do, best of luck to your guys in your endeavor. Obviously, you've already had a lot of successes, and, we'll see if we're part of it as well. I'll mention, thank you to Chief Garver for the update on the fire collaborative. And I know you've stated to us and myself in the past a few times, you'll never say say to us, what's a life cost when trying to budget things. Kind of the opposite here. It's like we're saving a couple $1 million and it's actually improving the service. So, what's a life cost? Well, $2 million less, actually. So kind of ironic there, but that's such a testament of all the successes of that to you and the other two communities. And yeah, hopefully at places like Pittsburgh, take it to heart, make it their own, and improve things. Lastly, and I apologize for the use of foul language here, but I'm gonna have to use the worst word in the language of taxes coming up. We're about to, hitting that season. And I know, last year we had our discussions with City of Cleveland and CCA. We obviously had a consensus to stay with them for at least another year. I think it was the right choice for the situation that we were in and for what they presented. The things that they presented of the increase of help in ways that they're going to do in communication. I think we really need to kind of partner with them in marketing that. We're always, Kevin's always going to get a lot of phone calls. We're always going to get a lot of questions from people. I think if we do put out some more information on, here's how these things, the resources to help, could reduce those. And just reduce. Biggest thing is just making it easier for residents and reducing the frustration and getting it right. That's the biggest thing. I think that was my biggest concern was with some of these issues was, well, if let's at least get this right, of what our income is, and I think we're moving definitely that we showed it probably was, but we definitely want to make sure that continues and becomes more efficient. So that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. I also want to say thanks to SOPEC for coming in for the informative presentation. Appreciate that. Thanks to the rest of our visitors that came in today and our visitor media representative here. Appreciate all three of you coming in. I want to go back to the snowstorm also. Randy, was that like Christmas Eve I talked to you? I think it was. I talked to Randy. I was actually out on Diamond Mill Road, and so our streets are all as clear as they could be at that particular point in time. But I called Randy to see if we could block off Diamond Mill out there because there was two big county dump trucks, snow trucks stuck out there, and they're getting towed out by Englewood Towing. So I think that puts in perspective, I think, what the job that you guys did. Yeah, it's a rural area, and there's a lot of wind out there and things like that, a lot of drifts, but, a lot of other municipalities had a lot of trouble that day, and I think we did very well. So I'd say, congratulations on that. The last thing I want to say is, again, I'm just so happy about the last year. We always are going to be facing those curveballs that come at us, whether it's the economy. Sometimes it's things that we can control, and sometimes it's not. But I think I'm very confident in our leadership here at all levels that we'll make the right decisions and keeping everything moving forward. And I'm just really happy to see some of these things come to fruition in 2023, which they will. We're well on the way. So I appreciate that. And Happy New Year, everyone. Mr. Gorman?
I'll move for adjournment.
Second.
I have to say Mr. Gorman before he blurts it out, but he's always ready. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thanks, everybody.